Back with closing trades right here on ET Now, and pretty comfortable in the closing trades actually. It's a triple-digit run for the Nifty futures. 11,560 thereabouts is where we're currently quoting at, and you've got a solid market breadth with banks, financials, as well as real estate and textile taking the lead when it comes to the sectoral contribution. But let's discuss earnings. Mastek on our radar. John Owen, the Group CEO at Mastek, on the show right now. John, hi, afternoon. Help us understand what was the sequential growth in constant currency terms and the impact of cross-currency.
Yeah, so I think we're relatively happy with a flat quarter. Obviously, we'd prefer to be growing. However, you've got to put it in the context that over 70% of our revenue comes out of the UK market. And I think given the headwinds everybody's experiencing in the UK market, maintaining our stability and making sure that our earnings don't degrade too much based on the price hike is encouraging. And the reason I give it that context is because I think as those headwinds we've got today shift into tailwinds, and you only see potentially a deal on Brexit, you can see the currencies getting stronger, and 70% of our business in the UK will suddenly become an asset, where today I fully recognise and appreciate people will be factoring in risk. But the core business is very stable and very resilient, and I think the pipeline is encouraging. So I look at it through the lens of, we are where we are because of our UK exposure. Our US is starting to recover nicely. Our Indian business is starting to contribute, but I do expect, I do anticipate and I acknowledge that we have a bit of an overhang from the UK, which will obviously drag on the numbers.
Margins, though, how have they fared as compared to the previous quarter?
So I think we've been flat. We're constant currency, we are flat. I think the key is, where is our customers? Our customers are still doing, a lot of our order book was very good, so our order book, our 12 months order book is up about 3.5% in constant currency. So if I look at the lead indicators, I am encouraged, but I'm obviously disappointed with the revenue flat, but I think a lot of that can be explained with the market. And I fully, as I say, I've said many times, Mastek is so exposed to the UK market. I understand why that discount will be baked in. Having said that, if you look at how Brexit will come to some sort of decision in the next few weeks and how the currency markets are reflecting that, I do expect that to flip very quickly. So Mastek can pivot very quickly back to market rate growth, and if not even better. But I think we've got to wait for that trigger.
So, given the kind of scenario you're describing, what's the assessment of the next couple of quarters with regard to deal flow execution, given the fact that we may or may not have Brexit around the corner?
Yeah, so I'm confident that we will grow, particularly in fiscal 21, and I think the next 2 quarters, I don't expect to bounce. I do expect to bounce in the foreign exchange, because I think a lot of the uncertainty is already being baked in and discounted in the foreign exchange. So you look at that. But I think from a market, the pipeline looks good. It looks robust. Our order book is good. It's about converting that discretionary spend. So I'm looking at it through the lens of, we're probably at the worst case scenario from a UK perspective. And I think we've got an improving position in the US. So I personally think, I'm looking optimistically both in the UK, the US and India, as we shift our portfolio to digital. Over 84% of our business is in digital, and we have incredibly robust customers in verticals like UK government sector, public sector, which I do expect to grow double digit over the next 12 months. When that pivot point will be, we're waiting for some political clarity, but I am optimistic that the core of the business is robust, the revenue is resilient, we can hold our profitability, and we can retain customers. So I think the fundamentals are good, but we do have to work through these headwinds that we've got challenged at the moment.
Thanks so much for taking out time for us. Always good to get perspective. Mastek down about 4%. Let's pull up the stock of TVS Motors as well, and